Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, it's a marvelous day so far. Bitcoin, crypto, stocks all soar after we get a really good inflation reading. CPI data just released, and it shows that inflation is coming, or no, not coming down, but being halted, being slowed down and easing. So, what does this mean tomorrow? What does this mean overall? And what else is there going on today? Let's discuss all of these things. So welcome, guys. Good morning. Market bell is about to ring. Right now, you could see that Bitcoin pump to 17.9, looking to break 18,000. And that's the bell. Best bell in the industry. And right now, the U.S. market, well, at least the futures market, was indicating a huge rise, plus 825 for Dow and plus 480 for NASDAQ. Okay, today, starting off really nicely. Why is this? Well, because of CPI data. I've been telling you guys about this for quite some time, right? This is measuring November, and we had one in November measuring October. October was the first glimpse at inflation tapering and slowing down, coming in lower than expected. We also had a PCE reading, which is similar, that came out a few weeks ago that also indicated the same thing. But now we have more confirmation, so that's month to month now, showing that inflation in the U.S. is definitely being slowed down and even coming down. If you're looking at the overall inflation, the CPI number is now down to 7.1%. It was 7.8% last month, okay, in October. So that's a steep drop. And estimates were predicting that CPI would drop to 7.3%. So we came in better, 0.2% lower. Also, as for core inflation, okay, core inflation did still rise, but still less than expected. Core inflation was supposed to come in at 0.3%. We came in at 0.2%, and that's fantastic as well. So if you're looking at core inflation year over year, it's about 6% versus the 7.1%, right? So these are all fantastic stuff. Yes, inflation is still high. Yes, we're still way higher than a few years ago, but what this means is the crazy rise that we have seen this year is finally seeming like it's finding a top and reversing, right? So this is what is driving markets up today, okay? And what will probably continue to drive markets up starting tomorrow is we have a big FOMC meeting that's going to, it actually starts today and concludes tomorrow. And then we're going to have that big news conference, the one I have participated with you guys for much of this year. It's coming in at 1:30, 1:30 Central Standard Time, 2:30 Eastern Time, right? And everyone is waiting to see what Powell says. Now, he has hinted that he wants to slow things down. He does not want to keep raising rates because what that's going to do is it may be overreaching, okay? Slowing rates slows down the economy. It's already happened. A lot of our economic data has shown that the economy has softened, right? But what he's waiting for is month-to-month slowness of inflation, and that's exactly what he's getting, right? So it's basically priced in tomorrow. There's an 80% chance that the rate hike announced tomorrow, well, now it's jumped to 84%. You could see it jumped almost 5% within a matter of a few minutes. So it's almost guaranteed tomorrow he will say that the rate hike will be 50 basis points rather than 75 basis points. And more than likely, he's going to announce that further meetings down the road can see even more cuts on rate hikes, meaning that the next one, I believe in January, could be maybe even a 25 basis point hike, right? And then the one after that becomes 0. And then maybe second half 2023, they actually pivot and start cutting, right? Tomorrow will be a big day for sure. And everyone's going to be looking at what Powell is saying and hinting, right? Those reporters, they're getting better. They're getting better at their questions, right? And Powell was very uncomfortable with questions after the last meeting. Let's see how he does tomorrow, okay? So, yeah, I do believe that this will carry us well into 2023, right? Starting today, we're going to see a good rally. We're going to see it continue tomorrow, continue into Christmas and the end of the year, and possibly continue into 2023. So, this is why things are soaring today, right? Very, very good. Very good indeed. Now, I was curious, I haven't looked at this in quite a long time. Ever since FTX collapsed, I haven't looked at this. The liquidations today, at least for crypto, and you could see that massive red. Let's do the 1 hour here. So yeah, there's a lot of short liquidations today, right? I've always said don't mess with leverage. Those shorts got killed today. If you add it up, probably like 100 million, right? Not the biggest liquidation event we have seen, but you know what? We'll take it. And as Bitcoin climbs higher, more shorts will be wrecked, and we'll get more short squeezes. So those are all good stuff. Good stuff. What else is going on today? Well, there's a few other stuff. Before I get to the few other stuff, I did want to remind you guys, as for Bitcoin, right? Some people don't quite understand the difference between Bitcoin and stocks, right? A lot of people are just buying Bitcoin almost as a tech stock. It goes up and down. People don't quite understand, right? So I haven't shown this in a while, and I decided to pull it up today, and it's kind of shocking because within a very short amount of time, most people don't realize that Bitcoin has a set supply, right? 21 million. It's not completely out yet, but out of the number that we have right now that's circulating, 19 million, right? People don't realize that about 3 to 4 million are already lost. So there's not actually 19 million floating around. It's more like 14 or 15. But even if you don't take that into account, the big boys, right, already bought close to 8% of the entire supply. Keep in mind, this is out of 21 million, okay? There's not even 21 million out there yet. It's 19 million. So this is actually a higher percentage. It's more closer to 10%. And if you take into account how much is lost, well, this number goes up even more, probably up to like 15%. And this is just recording the 65 entities, including a lot of the Bitcoin bulls, the companies, the funds, some countries, right? This is just including 65 entities that we know of that has publicly disclosed how much they hold. Imagine how many have not disclosed, right? There's so many that has not disclosed how much they're holding, and they could have been holding for years or longer, a decade, right? Or the BlackRocks of the world that jumped in, they're not disclosing how much they have, right? But just the ones that have disclosed already hold about 15%, I would say, of the entire supply. That's why Bitcoin is going up to the moon eventually, because there's just not enough to go around. It's so scarce. It's not like tech stock. Stock could be split. There could always be more that's issued. Bitcoin, unlike anything else, has a set supply, and it's only getting more scarce with each halving event and with more people buying in, right? So you have the likes of MicroStrategy. We all know Michael Saylor, and then Galaxy Digital, Voyager. I don't know what's going to happen with Voyagers. To be honest, they still hold $219 million worth of Bitcoin, but still they hold it. You have Coinbase, Tesla, you got Block, you got all the big boys, right? But then you go to countries. Even China holds 194,000 Bitcoins. I think they confiscated it. I don't know where that came from. The U.S. government also confiscated a ton of Bitcoin. So that doesn't even show in there. And then you have Mt. Gox, which still holds a ton. Block One, Tezos, and then Mass Mutual. And then you have, of course, the big funds like Grayscale and Purpose, Bitcoin ETM, all this stuff, right? So, I mean, just looking at this is just 65 entities. That's it. Just 65 entities somehow controlling so much already. And think about how much is not disclosed and being held. So really, it's just, you know, this back and forth on the exchanges, right? It's really just a very small amount. And most people don't realize that. So I didn't want to start off with that. And also with others, with some other good stuff about Bitcoin, the current drawdown where we are right now, right? There's a lot of charts like this indicating, oof, good buying opportunity. We're towards the bottom, if not already there, and we are itching to climb higher, right? So today could be the start of that. Who knows where Bitcoin will end up by the end of the year? Fingers crossed, maybe we get a good push back to 2021K in the near future, and after that, we push towards 30K. If the whole FTX thing didn't happen, we'd probably be at 30K, if not higher already. So, looking forward to the next 2 weeks of this year. Now, other things that's happening, Hong Kong is listing. There's a company that's going to be listing Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs. That's good. It's going to bring more money into the space, especially if FOMO builds, right, for the remaining 2 weeks. That'll be good. But going forward, again, the scarcity factor plays in because each one of these fund providers has to buy Bitcoin in order to fulfill the shares that they're selling, right? So the more buying that happens, the better it is overall. Simple as that. Now, there is also some bad news today. There's a lot of FUD about Binance. Okay, as the withdrawals top 500 million, I heard the latest report, it's like 2 billion, right? Does seem like there's a mini bank run happening on Binance. Some of it due to that Reuters report, how Binance may be investigated by the U.S. authorities, right? Some of it is just people spreading FUD on Twitter. Some people are just being cautious and taking their crypto out because they just want to self-custody their own crypto. There's nothing wrong with that, right? So there's a little bit of that going on. But CZ is staying strong, says FUD helps us grow, even though they are thoroughly annoying. You can FUD about someone and blah. Okay, he's just basically saying, like, you know what? We've seen a lot of FUD over the years, especially 5 years ago when they were introduced, and then 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you know, up until today, right? FUD is part of Binance, and we're okay with that. We will continue forward. Basically, I don't know what else you could say. There's some question whether or not they have enough USDC. He answered this because there needs to be a swap that happens through a bank, right? When a bank opens, they'll do it. There's one-to-one conversions, no margin, no leverage involved, right? So there you go. But before, he already said he wanted to convert everything to BUSD on Binance. So that's the reason why also probably lower liquidity of USDC and USDT, because he himself has been converting everything to BUSD. So there's that. So there is some FUD still around Binance, okay? And whether you trust CZ or Binance or not, it's irrelevant, okay? If you don't trust them, take your money out, put it into a self-custody wallet. There's nothing wrong with that. Even if CZ is the most trustworthy guy in the space, which I believe he's among the top, but even that, right? It's never too late to safeguard your own crypto. Learn how to use a Ledger or Treasure or Trust Wallet or Arculus Wallet or whatever else wallet, SafePal, right? Learn how to use them. Self-custody some of your crypto, if not all of your crypto, right? Then you don't have to worry about anything. But as for centralized exchanges, I think the two that can be trusted and will be fine is Binance and Coinbase. These two, I just don't see anything happening to them. So even though there may be a mini bank run, Binance has over 60 billion in assets, so I think they're still doing just fine. But in case you don't trust it, go ahead and self-custody your own crypto. Nothing wrong with that move whatsoever. And it gives you opportunity to learn too. All right, outside of this, speaking of Coinbase, despite this horrible year, they added 19 million users. And that's during a horrible, horrible year for Bitcoin and crypto. They did recently announce that they were going to lose like 50% of their revenue for this year versus 2021. But still, despite that, they added 19 million verified users. And I don't know how much Binance added or anyone else, right? But it just shows you there's still people that's coming into this space. It's not like everyone left. There's still a lot of people learning and figuring things out and really wanting to opt out of everything that they have gone through this year with inflation, with just crazy prices, and opting out of what the feds, or central banks around the world are doing. So good overall. What else is there? Raul Paul wants to remind people that out of 10 years, there's up and downs for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not the best performing assets out of the last 10 years. In fact, many years, it's actually the worst. And you can include 2022 in there, right? But if you go back 10 years, nothing has come close to outperforming Bitcoin, right? Big part of that is the scarcity factor that I just mentioned at the beginning. So keep that in mind. Even though we may have down years, and it seems absolutely brutal, but those that survive, they get stronger, their conviction becomes stronger, their faith in Bitcoin becomes stronger, and overall they're rewarded for it simply by holding. It's really that simple. Now, of course, you guys also know that SBF, I covered this last night, SBF was arrested, right? Facing charges, waiting to be extradited, but the SEC also formally charges SBF. Gary Gensler himself finally taking some action against FTX and SBF, claiming that he took customers' funds, knowingly commingled customers' funds, according to him, and then used those funds for self-interest. For example, undisclosed venture investments, lavish real estate purchases, large political donations. Interesting, right? So he is formally charging him. So I don't know who's actually going to end up, I don't even know how it works in the courts. If you have multiple agencies going after him, who actually wins? Like which one takes first priority? I don't know. The SEC or U.S. Justice Department? Don't know, but everyone's going after him. But what's also interesting is this, and this makes the Bahamas look really bad. The new FTX CEO has come out and said that the Bahamas, whoever in the Bahamas, the authorities in Bahamas, asked SBF to mint a new coin, a completely new coin, and they wanted to take control of it. In fact, they didn't just ask, they tried to give access back to SBF. So the new CEO actually said they witnessed someone trying to hack into FTX servers. They actually saw that new coins were minted, and they stopped it, right? And supposedly this is the Bahamian authorities asking SBF to do so, right? So if this is true, there's something really wrong. There's something really wrong going on in the Bahamas, right? So, yeah, there's something there. So recently, of course, yesterday, they released it. Whoever released that letter saying that, yeah, we'll comply, we'll extradite, SBF, we'll comply with any, with the U.S. regulators and whatever they want, right? It's probably because they know a lot of this stuff is not gonna look good for them, so they're trying to be as nice as possible right now. But this is just absolutely wild. I don't know why they would ask him to mint a new coin, and I don't know why they think that would be a good idea, right? I have no idea. I have no idea. All right. Outside of that, Moonpay received regulatory approval in the UK, so that's good. That's good overall, right? As crypto adoption increases, it's only good for everyone. So there's that. Let's see what the U.S. market. Oh, wow. It actually went down. I thought it just go plus 800. Now it's only plus 400, but, we'll take that. We'll take that. The U.S. indicts SBF on conspiracy to defraud the U.S. So, yeah. Federal prosecutor in the South District of New York unsealed charges against disgraced FTX co-founder, charging him with conspiracy to commit wire fraud, security fraud, standalone charges of security fraud, wire fraud, money laundering, and significantly conspiracy to defraud the United States and campaign finance regulators. Ooh, that's new. Ooh. Because yesterday it was just like security fraud, wire fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy to commit it. But now they're adding in conspiracy to defraud the United States and campaign finance regulations. Wow. You know what? Gary Gensler better watch out, because he was the one that was working with SBF, trying to get in good graces of CFTC and trying to cater to FTX, coming out with better, bypassing certain steps, making it more favorable for them to operate, So this is looking at this. Then this is also looking at all the money, where it went, including some of the political donations and who received, and it's all coming out. It's all coming out. Gary Gensler, better watch out. Better watch out. All right. I think that's pretty much it. Entire market cap is obviously up today. 875 billion. That's good. Ethereum up 7%. Good stuff. BNB is still down because of this Binance FUD. Oh, no, it's not down. It's up now. XRP and Doge both doing pretty well. Cardano and Polygon doing well. Litecoin and Solana, SHIB. Today's a pretty green day. Pretty good green day. All right, let's do some Q&A. All right, let me scroll up here. Today's lively chat. Check faint morning, washed last year. Do I need to take realized losses? I only DC a little bit this year. You know what? Something that a lot of people, and I'm going to cover more about this as we get closer to a year, but something that a lot of people could take advantage is wash trading, okay? That's something that still exists for crypto, doesn't exist for stocks anymore, but you could do wash trading, right? And that is a good thing, because that could help you offset some of your taxes. So I don't know if that's what you're asking, but that is something that a lot of crypto people could take advantage. Even stock people too, because stocks got hammered this year. But stocks you can't, because when you do, there's no wash trading. So if you sell off something, you have to wait until 30 days before buying it back in. With crypto, you could sell it and buy back right away. So something to consider. I'll be talking more about that as we get closer to the end of the year. What happens if Binance falls? Will crypto ever recover? Yes, crypto will recover. Anything that falls in crypto will be devastating at first, but it'll recover. Even if Binance falls, even if Tether falls, they're about the same size because Tether has 65 billion, 66 billion, and Binance has about 62 billion in assets. So they're about the same size. And even if they both fall simultaneously, it was set the space back for a very, very long time. But will we recover eventually? Yes. Yes, we would. Do I buy stocks and commodities too, or just crypto? Myself, it's just crypto. Others in my family own stocks. Before I got in crypto, I dabbled in stocks. Didn't do very well in it. Didn't have the patience. Didn't know what I know now. But still, nothing in stocks gives me the conviction that I have for Bitcoin, right? With Bitcoin, I have greater conviction because I know there's something there, right? The scarcity factor is going to play a big role in this price appreciation going forward. And from a network perspective, we have no other network that's as decentralized as Bitcoin, right? And that in itself is worth a ton because you just can't build that and have mass adoption and get to the point where countries and this global adoption where countries and companies are now using it. You can't put a price on that. Facebook tried and failed, right? So many have tried and failed. Oh, I didn't switch my camera. I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong camera. Oops. That's the ending camera. I may have started my drinking a little early today. Did you see Juno on Ledger? What's up with that? I'm not actually quite sure. Best EV on the market, excluding Tesla. F-150 Lightning. Fantastic truck. Fantastic truck. Polygon Matic is the most underrated crypto. I agree with that. I don't know about the $500 each part, but I do agree it is very undervalued. Let's see. When OnlyFans? Still trying to get my account verified. Um, 10-year treasury for those of you guys that are treasury guys. I don't think any of you guys are treasury guys. I mean, who's go buy? I still don't understand who buys a 10-year treasury bond or note expecting to make 3.5% from it. I mean, like, why? Why? When inflation is 7.1% right now, right? Why would you buy something that's still causing you to lose half of it in a year? Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Anything you buy pretty much can move faster than 3.5% a year. So I just don't quite get the appeal of a treasury yield. I mean, I get if you're a country or a central bank. If you're like China and you want to buy some US dollars, then yeah, you go buy treasury yields, right? I think that makes sense. But like as a regular retail investor, I don't see why anyone should buy a treasury yield. Or not treasury yield, treasury note or treasury bond. It makes no sense to me. Imagine if it's a super cycle altcoin season in January. I don't know about that. I do think for the rest of this month, we're going to get some good movement, especially tomorrow after Powell makes his speech and he's going to be more dovish. I think that's going to drive things higher. The beginning of the year will be interesting. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen in the beginning of the year, but if Powell sets the tone to decrease rate hikes as we move into 2023, that's going to be fantastic. That's going to carry things forward, right? And then I guess the next things we have to watch out for are the economic data, because Powell will be mentioning about how he doesn't want to overreach. He doesn't want to cripple the United States. Doesn't want to cripple the economy so bad that we end up in a deep recession, right? We're in a recession already, but not a deep one. he doesn't want that, right? So then hopefully with the rate hikes stopping or coming to a close, so in 2023, the economy continues to stay strong. The labor force is still strong. Wages is still strong. And retail and wholesale data is still strong, right? Then we're going to have a tremendous recovery in 2023. The point is DCA is not to ask or know what to do. That's why you DCA. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Bride guy. Thank you. Appreciate it. I had a dream about DXY going to 78. No. I don't think it's going to drop to that low anytime soon. If we get below 100, that would be very good already. What is the DXY today? 103. That's a big drop. So that's good. That's good. We want to see it below 100. And it could get there pretty soon. Get there pretty soon. What's your take on crypto transaction on Twitter? It's going to happen. Elon is working on a wallet, and he's going to integrate some crypto in there. I'm pretty sure Doge will be integrated for sure, and then probably Bitcoin and Ethereum, if I had to guess. So that's being worked on for sure. Travel the world, appreciate it. I will continue to do so. Dave, I don't know if that's breaking news or not. Let's get. All right. Well, looking at what Lux Algo says. Yeah, very green, very green. 15, 1 hour, 4 hour, 1 day. We have broken through obviously some of the previous resistance / support. The next big one is actually up to 21,000. That's gonna be huge, huge. I think there's some suppression right now, right around this 18,000. That's why we haven't passed it yet, and that's because if we do pass it, then we're right back to 19, 20, 21, right? So if you look before, we were breaking through some of our previous resistances. First of all, we broke through this trend line, but you could see over here, we were breaking through these resistances, and the next one was going to be like 22, 23, right? But then the FTX thing set us back right here, right? So now we're looking to break past back to where we were before, around right here, and then we could continue forward. So can we see that in the next 2 weeks? Definitely. Can we see that this week? Can we see that remaining this week? Yes, definitely. We get some more money in. We get more short squeezes happening. Just to push us higher back to where we were pre-FTX levels. Let's call it that, pre-FTX levels. James predicted 300 Tesla by end of the year. Probably not going to happen. Tesla has been decimated. I don't know what they are today, but man, Tesla just does not want to move. Barely up. They start high, and then there are people that are just shorting the hell out of Tesla right now. Even on a good day like today, they're barely moving. Wait, what? How did it go down to 8%? That doesn't make sense. Go Bongo. It's part of the Lux Algo indicators. So there's a couple of them that I've been experimenting with because I have heard good things about them. So it does show you like reversals and stuff. BOS means like a reversal, and this chalk means that it's breaking above some kind of support or something like that, or resistance. So Let's zoom in a little bit. They have another one too that shows you buy and sell and strong buy and sells. So you could see over here, if you go back on the 1 hour, somewhat accurate. Strong sell, buy, right? That's on the 1 hour. On the 4 hour, strong sell, strong buy, sell, strong buy, sell over here, strong buy. I mean, it's decently accurate. I don't know Taekwondo. I don't know where you got that from. Might pick up some Tesla on Cash App. Why not? Lower it goes, the better. I mean, a lot of people, like including my best friend, is like the biggest Tesla guy. Okay, it irritated me so much over the years, but his conviction is in Tesla. But his conviction's a little bit broken this year because of their downfall, right? They dropped like 60% within this year, and he has never seen this before, even during the bad times. This is like crypto winter for Tesla. But I will say that Tesla still, in terms of the EV market, at least in the US and in Europe, is still way above everyone. In China, maybe not so much because they have their own EV manufacturers. In Europe, Volkswagen and others are trying to catch up. But in the US, no one's even close, right? In the supercharger network, people discount that. That's so much bigger than anyone else out there. So I don't think Tesla's going anywhere. But the fact remains that this Twitter purchase really, really, really pissed off a lot of people. People don't want him to be all political and concentrate all of his time on Twitter. He seems to be tweeting like every 5 minutes on Twitter now, right? So that's why a lot of investors got really pissed off by first of all, the huge overpay for Twitter, and second, like all the stuff that he's trying to do has nothing to do with Tesla. So I could see how people are kind of pissed off and shorting Tesla at this point. But I think Tesla is still a great company that will probably do very well, continue to do very well in the future. George, if we stake crypto to PancakeSwap using Ledger, can PancakeSwap take your crypto and run away? No. That's the whole point. If you're staking from within your Ledger, you are in control. They can't take it away unless like you're giving them permission to be able to take it away. But that's not usually how it works. A better EV other than Tesla will come. There's a lot of great EVs. Like, I've tested F-150 Lightning. It's the best EV truck on the market by far. I love that truck, right? But there's very little places you can charge. The Mach-E is also pretty good as a Model Y alternative, right? A lot of the EV cars I've tested these days are great. The Kia EV6, the Hyundai Ioniq 5, they're awesome. But when it comes to range, power, and especially the charging network, they just pale compared to Tesla. But in terms of build quality, features, how they drive, how they look, arguably, they're at the same level, if not more, or if not better. I haven't tested any of the BMW ones yet, like the new iX7 or iX5 or something. I need to test it, but I haven't tested it yet. Martin says he just got the EV6. Congratulations. You should get an 812 Ferrari V12. Interesting. All right, where's the U.S. market right now? Not as strong. Not as strong as opening. I wonder why. I mean, this is the greatest data we could have gotten today. Like, literally nothing else could have come out today to cause... Oh, okay. Now it jumped to 400. Was it just lagging? Okay, now it's looking better. Because I was going to say, there's no piece of news that could come out that could drive markets up better than the CPI data report. I mean, there's nothing, literally nothing. So if we're not rallying today, then there's something that's going on. But Tesla's not rallying. Tesla is just getting killed. A new 52-week low today. But crypto is, so that's good. And tomorrow, I think we're going to get another push upwards when Powell speaks. And he's going to be very dovish. And he's going to hint at a pivot in 2023. And that's going to send markets even higher. And the day is still young. The day is not over. Who knows? By the end of today, Dow could be plus 1,000 and NASDAQ could be plus 700. Do you think SEC and Gary turn away from attacking crypto, focusing on SBF as bad as its bad guy? Though grayscale XRP losses are ongoing. Interesting how they approach. I mean, SEC is big agency. They could attack a lot of people at the same time. But I think Gary, I mean, he formally charged SBF, but a little bit behind, right? And a lot of people are thinking it's because he has this close relationship with SBF, so he was dragging his feet, right? And this may spur more investigations into himself. Tesla will be fourth in 10 years? No. 10 years comes and goes really, really, really quickly. So, no. Don't think that's going to happen. And I can't even imagine how many cars Tesla will sell in 10 years. If you look at EV numbers, it's laughable what other manufacturers are selling versus what Tesla is selling. Tesla is selling over 1 million EV cars a year, close to 1.25 or something like that, 1.3 million cars a year. If you look at like what Ford, I think Ford is number 2 in the U.S., selling like not even 10,000 a year. They were selling not even like 100,000 a year. So I mean, it's a vast difference. But you know what? They're trying to catch up. Everyone's trying to go EV. GM is going to make a big push in 2023 and 2024. Right now, there's really no EV cars from GM other than that Bolt, which is horrible. And others are trying to jump in. Toyota's trying to catch up. Everyone's trying to catch up. How come I can't swap my Near Doge to USDC on Trust Wallet? Because that swap probably doesn't support those chains. Probably just supports ERC20. And Near is not a ERC20 token, I don't believe. It's their own chain. Congressional hearing on SBF should be starting soon. Yeah, unfortunately, SBF is not in there. It's the new CEO. But the new CEO made some damning remarks already about how the Bahamas supposedly try to hack FTX servers to allow SBF to create new tokens and hand it to them, like stuff like this. He came out and said it. I don't know what the hell is going on there. I don't see how they thought this could be a good idea, or how they thought they could have got away with it. It doesn't even make any sense. Illegos. I had a dream about ADA founder passing away. What happens to coins whose creator passes away? Really nothing happens, because most of these projects are decentralized. If anything, the founder passes away, like Bitcoin, right? Like Satoshi, who holds 1 million Bitcoins, right? If he passed away, which I think he did, it just gets lost forever. It takes it out of circulating supply. That's even better, right? So If anything, it helps the chains that they have created. It helps the tokens they created. Why do EVs have to look so weird sometimes? I'd be fine with the EV looking like a Honda Accord. That's exactly right. I've always said that. I'm like, why do EV cars look so strange? Why can't they make it look like a normal car? Now people are starting to do that. They're starting to pay attention, although there's still some wild-looking EV cars out there. But a lot of plug-in hybrids look normal. They look like a normal car. You couldn't even tell they're a plug-in hybrid. So there's that. It's starting to lean that way more and more now. One thing that I was thinking about is all the millions of Bitcoins gone forever when people die. I mean, people die, they lose their hard drive. There's a lot of things that happen, right? So toward the beginning of the stream, I said, this 19 million in circulation that has been created so far. You minus 1 million from Satoshi. You minus another 3 to 4 million from people that have lost their keys, lost their hard drive, have passed away, right? You have another 3 to 4 million that's just lost. So what are you left with? 14 million Bitcoins, right? And then you take 14 million Bitcoins. These guys right here, right, already own 1.6 million. So now you're down to 12, right? And then you have to take into account, well, how many people out there that we don't know about, right? You look at a rich list. There's so many wallets out there that hold a tremendous amount of Bitcoin. A lot of them early miners. A lot of them are current miners we don't know about. A lot of them are just whales. They're stocking up. So, I mean, this is all going to play a factor. Of course, I think it's the biggest factor, but it's going to play a big factor in Bitcoin's rise because the scarcity factor is real. It's not like anything else out there. Gold, you could always dig for more. Maybe an asteroid crashed onto Earth with quadrillions of gold, $quadrillion worth of gold. You can always drill more oil. You can always create more stocks, right? But you can't create more Bitcoin. It's set by code. So, do you think Satoshi is Hal Finney? I think it's a combination. Hal and Dave Kleeman. It's probably those two. And then maybe they invited Craig Wright to write the white paper, right? That's why Craig Wright thinks he's Satoshi, but they never really trusted him, so they didn't give him the private keys. So he doesn't have it. I think it's something like that. I think it's kind of probably like a two-man thing. D. Lee Crypto. You're welcome and thank you. Rocore. Dude, I've done my research on EVs. I own EVs, okay? It seems like you're very anti-EVs, and that's okay. But just because one guy had his F-150 blow up at a charging station, supposedly, okay, it doesn't make it so that it's garbage. How about how many cars have caught on fire over the years due to a crash, due to a malfunction, due to manufacturers cheapening out, right? Does that make the entire car industry garbage? No. So you can't. It's the same thing with FTX. FTX goes under. SBF is a fraud. Does that make the entire crypto space bad? Is the entire crypto space a fraud? No, right? So you can't use one example to blame the entire industry. Martin, yes, it can. And who cares if it can't tow as much as a normal F-150, because you and I know, most people buying F-150s aren't towing anything. Some do, of course. Some actually use it for work. But most people that are getting it in the suburbs, they're not towing anything. They're just in a truck because they feel it's cool to be in a truck. And there's nothing wrong with that. Israel, we could get a 75 basis point hike tomorrow. I think it's very, very, very unlikely. The market's already priced in 80% to be 50 basis points, 20% chance of 75 basis points. It could still happen. Yes, there's a small chance for that. And if we do get 75 basis points tomorrow, I think the market will come down again. But I think right now it's all signs are pointing to 50 basis points. There's just no reason. There's no reason why he would continue on 75 basis points, especially when inflation has come down and core inflation has tapered out. So it's as good as a reading as you can get. Like, seriously, you couldn't get a better reading. So I just don't see it. But I guess we'll see. Market, the U.S. market is still strong right now, about plus 400. NASDAQ, plus 3%. Love to see Bitcoin. Bitcoin has to break above this 18,000, right? Right now, it's a little topped out, but we need to see it break 18,000. And then once that happens, good things will come. We'll be right back to 19,000, 20,000 in no time. It can happen really quick. We just need a little more push for another short squeeze. Shannon. Trucks are cool. I want a full-size truck, but just so hard to park everywhere. Yeah, EV cars do get less range and cold, but they're not nearly as bad as people think. These batteries are now huge, not like the early EV ones. I had a Volt. The very first generation of Volt, it had like 50 miles in range of EV. And in the winter, it'll be like 30, right? But that's because it had an extremely small battery. It doesn't have, what's that new thing that they use to generate heat? It's like the opposite of a heat pump, which also makes it very efficient to heat up the car in the winter, which EV cars didn't have before. So if you put all those things together, it's not nearly as bad as before. All right, guys. What? Overall, today's a good day. We'll take it. Markets are rallying. Crypto's rallying. Everything's soaring. So that's good. But tomorrow, I'm going to have a bigger day, I believe. But in the meantime, enjoy it and tune in tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.